Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the City of Homestead's special call City Council meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, October 5th, 2022, and it is 5:01 p.m. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Fletcher.
Here.
Councilwoman Bailey. Here. Councilwoman Sharon. Okay. Councilwoman Faircloth Staggers. Councilman Ross.
Here.
Vice Mayor, Mayor Losner.
Here. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. First item, tab 1, car number 3678, a collective bargaining agreement. Mr. White, would you please read the resolution by title?
Certainly, Mayor. This is a resolution of the City of Council, City of Homestead, Florida, providing for ratification of the collective bargaining agreement between Local 359 of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, AFL, CIO, and the City of Homestead, in effect from October 1, 2022 through September 30th, 2024, authorizing the city manager to sign the collective bargaining agreement on behalf of the city, authorizing the city manager to take all actions necessary to implement the collective bargaining agreement, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. White. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. Staff recommends that Mayor and Council ratify the tentatively agreed to collective bargaining agreement between the City of Homestead and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers for the term of October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2024. Staff recommends that Mayor and Council approve the attached resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into the 2022-2024 IBEW collective bargaining agreement. During the term of this agreement, the bargaining unit employees will receive a 5% cost of living adjustment in the first year effective October 1st, 2022, and a 5% cost of living adjustment for the second year effective October 1st, 2023. Effective October 1st, 2022, an additional step of 5% will be included in step pay plan after 5 years of service with the city. There were some non-substantive language changes made throughout the agreement, plus the addition of Juneteenth as the city-recognized holiday beginning in 2023. The aforementioned COLA, 5 years of service step-up, and the inclusion of Juneteenth as a recognized holiday will also be applicable to non-bargaining unit employees.
Thank you. All right. We'll open the public hearing on this one. Is there anyone either in the audience or online wishing to speak on this matter? Mr. Manager?
I'm sorry, Mayor. Councilwoman Faircloth just reached out to me that she's coming down, so I don't know if I want to wait a second for her to vote on this.
Well, I was just on the way down. If the representatives for the IBEW, if you wouldn't mind coming down and just giving us your name and introduce yourselves. And, anything to add? Don't want to put you on the spot, but we want to thank you for being here and all of your efforts to get this done very timely.
Thank you for having us. I'm Jose Landrian. I'm the chairman of the union of the IBEW.
Anthony Ramirez, recording secondary of the IBEW.
Good, thank you. For myself, I want to thank all of you and your members for sitting down and dealing with us in good faith and in a reasonable manner and getting this done certainly prior to the October 1st deadline, and we appreciate that. We've got a real balancing act here on behalf of the city as an entity and its people and you people that make it happen on your side every day. So we've met that goal, and I really appreciate your efforts in holding up your end of the bargain, so to speak. So thank you. All right, so we'll close the public hearing while we await the arrival of the councilwoman. She's in the building coming down?
She's coming down, and I just want to say it was a pleasure negotiating with the IBEW. They were very forthcoming, and they really worked well with us, and we're very happy that we were able to get an agreement so quick. In fact, I can't remember the last time in 20-something years that we've gotten an agreement done this quickly with the union.
I share that view. This is, and I think it speaks well to both sides of the table in this
Thank you, Mayor.
instance. Please take that back to all of your members, our appreciation and thanks all coming together for the good of the city and getting this done. We appreciate that. Council, any further comments while we await the other member?
She says she's coming now.
So at her request, we'll wait a moment.
I don't know. She doesn't
Your
say.
next text will be the elevator is stuck.
Yeah, I'm already thinking about that. She's stuck in the elevator and the emergency button isn't working, so.
And while we're at it, we'll let the record reflect that Vice Mayor Guzman joined us at the beginning of the discussion.
What's that? Oh,
Oh, you snuck in the
yes.
other
All
door.
right. You want to let Vivian know? So she's oh.
Thank you and welcome. Anything to add to the conversation on the adoption of the IBEW collective bargaining agreement? Thank you. Well, then, do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Moved by Councilman Fletcher, seconded by Councilwoman Bailey. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Roth? Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough Staggers? Vice Mayor Guzman? Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you all. Okay, our next item is tab 2, car number 3684, Hurricane Ian Disaster Relief Fund. Mr. White?
Yes, Mayor. This is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, authorizing acceptance of donations to be distributed for Hurricane Ian relief and donations by the city, establishing a budget and the amount of donations received, providing for implementation, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. Staff recommends that Mayor and Council consider the attached resolution authorizing the city manager to establish a budget for donations to be distributed in relief efforts for those affected by Hurricane Ian and to make a donation valued at $10,000 towards the relief effort. Between September 27th and September 30th, 2022, Hurricane Ian impacted the west coast of Florida, causing extensive damage and catastrophic destruction. The City of Homestead desires to accept donations to be distributed toward relief efforts in aid of those affected by the hurricane. And additionally, the city desires to donate the value of $10,000 towards relief efforts. Currently, the city has reached out to Hardee and DeSoto counties in order to determine what their immediate needs are, and to coordinate supply distribution within the local agencies. Right now, we're looking at Arcadia, Wauchula, as well as Ona, and we've reached out, we've spoken to a couple of their city managers' offices. We're telling them what we're trying to do, and we're just trying to get the information as to what their immediate needs are, so we can go ahead and coordinate with the agencies that are on site right now doing the distribution. In addition to that, the mayor did reach out to Councilman Shelley to see if FarmShare can assist us. And Councilman Shelley, I've spoken to him as well, has offered us one tractor trailer to definitely send, and a driver to send goods up there. But we need to tell them where to go, what we're delivering, and what relief agency is going to receive the materials for distribution.
And I'd add, his advice is to, be very precise and know the needs and buy in bulk rather than, scattershot items that, at least for this time in the immediate future, items sent in big quantities, in bulk of whatever it is we're going to send.
Yes, Mayor. He told me the exact same thing. He prefers, if we're going to send diapers, let's send pallet of diapers. If we're going to send water, send pallets of water. Instead of, like saying doing a can drive or something of that nature, which is more hodgepodge. So it's a lot easier for the agency distributing the material or the supplies at the location. They could set up a water station, they could set up a canned food station, diaper station, things like that. It makes it a lot easier at the other end.
All right, certainly we're going to avail ourselves of his advice. His drivers are on the ground throughout Southwest Florida every day, and those needs change and evolve, and he will be one of the many sources of folks out there who are in the mix to know what is most effective to send at a given time.
Yeah, and he's reaching out to his contacts as well to let us know where the most needs are. That's where ONA came from. He says those people are outside of Wachula and they're coming in because there's no relief efforts over there. It's a small community, but I mean, we want to do the most impact that we can for the folks over there.
Sure. And I want to announce, since, kind of started this initiative, that from among Rotary, Kiwanis, Seroptimist, and several of the members of this body, we have more than doubled the city's proposed initial seed money now. So we're at about $22,500 at this point. I think we really easily get to 25 or 30 and make a huge difference and fill up that truck and make it worthwhile for that delivery. So, is there any public comment on this? Okay, I'll close the public hearing, and if there are no further questions, I'll entertain a
Mayor?
motion.
I have
Vice
a
Mayor.
question too.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Some of us have started other relief efforts in terms of our company staff bringing forward items that they can spare. So although they won't be in bulk, I think if we have an opportunity to put those items on a truck under miscellaneous, if we could find a pallet, because I know sometimes they pull these things off with the forklift. If we can find a pallet, I'm happy to provide those items. I just wanted to get some instructions on where you'd like us to deliver those items.
Okay, so right now the plan is we're collecting the monies. So until we hear from, and Councilman Shelley was very specific. He goes, don't call me today and tell me I need a truck tomorrow. I'm going to need a couple of days, and you need to give me who the distribution person is going to be at the other end. And, obviously we don't want to send a quarter of a truck or half a truck. We want to send a full truck. I mean, he's being kind enough, or Farm Share is being kind enough to give us that opportunity. So until we identify what we're going to get, because I was thinking we go to BJ's and buy 5 pallets of drinking water.
Yep.
Right? And we could probably tell Farm Share to go over there, and they're literally going to load them in the back of the truck. So depending on the materials that are needed and how we acquire them, because I hate to say we're going to call Amazon or order something from Amazon, but obviously we're going to try to get everything locally, right? Depending on how that pans out, then that's going to determine how we get to you to get this stuff to the facility. Because right now we don't have a location where people can come and just start dropping off stuff, right?
No, that part I understand. I just want to make sure that we have an opportunity to put the items that people throughout the city and other private companies have delivered to our companies, so that we get an opportunity to put that stuff on the truck to try to fill it up. So I don't want the truck to go to BJ's and then it leaves from BJ's up there and we're like, oh, you missed a train.
Vice Mayor, I hear you. All right,
Okay.
not a problem.
The second question was, after this meeting and this gets ratified, will we be creating a link where people can donate, like electronically, like a Cash App or a Zelle or a...
Right, we're gonna offer multiple ways to donate. There's folks locally that are like you all are donating. The Rotary's donating, the city's donating, and like the mayor said, we have over $20,000. But also we're putting links on our website as well if people want to donate to the state fund to help the folks, which is a more general versus a more localized. I think the challenge we have right now is we have not identified the end person right now. We're trying to get that information, and I think once we get that, I think that's definitely going to help out with the funding. But yes, we're going to put it online so people can donate as well.
And when you say the end person, is that a Red Cross or a big national company or organization?
Somebody who we can trust, right? These are, now we have a duty here. People are donating money. We want to ensure that it's getting to the correct people and being distributed over there to the correct people, as opposed to I was here for Andrew, some of you were as well. There was no organization in the beginning, and literally a tractor trailer would back up to Old City Hall and just push everything out. and then it would become, that's the perfect word, chaos. People just rummaging through the stuff. People were donating clothes. Literally, there was, I want to say, it was almost a 2-story pile of clothes just in a field. And people were going through that, getting clothes, which they needed, until the first time it rained. And then it was a total disaster. So that's why there needs to be the organization at the end part to properly distribute it. I was at Everglades City this Sunday. I was down there, and they had their distribution center. You know, you needed water, went to the first table, water, they help you put it in the car. You needed food, you needed amenities for yourself, hygiene things that was there. So it was an orderly distribution, so people got what they really needed instead of trying to rummage around and find stuff.
And I think, Vice Mayor, to your point, let's say, for example, we coordinate with the city of Arcadia, and they say, sure, we've got a parking lot at City Hall. Then either they or we or both are going to say, okay, the Red Cross is in that area, or this church group, and the church groups from all denominations are just, they were the first folks on the ground and continue to be. You know, it'll be kind of that multi-level delivery and distribution. We're just not going to drop it off somewhere.
Okay. And Mr. Manager, the disaster relief team that the city of Homestead has deployed up in that area, is that just law enforcement, or does that include part of the IBEW team linemen to help with the restoration of the electric grid?
So, Vice Mayor, to answer your question, right now it's predominantly law enforcement. It's a 20-man team. There is one IBEW employee, which is a mechanic, right? He's there. You know, we don't want to put a burden on the agencies and the municipalities we go to, so our mechanic is there to repair. Now, regarding the electric utility, we have a shortfall in linemen at this time. And so we're not supplying any. But prior to the storm, the governor did set up thousands of line crews already, and those are being deployed. And so they have sufficient number of line crews. They can always use more, but right now they're doing fairly well.
Thank you. And is our law enforcement, are they going to remain in Punta Gorda, or are they going to, go where they're needed the most?
They're going to go where they're needed the most. I sent you all an update, I want to say yesterday or the day before. I think the tours right now are a week at a time. One crew will come down, another one will go up, and depending where the disaster recovery relief is needed the most, then that's where they go ahead and get deployed.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mayor. Councilman Fletcher.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of jump in on that a little bit. I did speak with Colonel Kennedy today, and he informed me that they were definitely being utilized in Punta Gorda, but that they're probably going to be asked to move somewhere further north that's harder hit. But he did want me to mention that, our mechanic is doing a yeoman's job and really keeping, our Homestead folks, engaged and all their equipment working, but he's really put together the city of Punta Gorda's police department generator, fixed it. He's fixed the city hall generator so they had power. So he's been a very advantageous person to be on that trip with them. So they're extremely pleased with him. And
Rafael's been with the city 20 some odd years.
Absolutely. He's a
He
great
worked
guy.
for me when I ran general services and oversaw fleet. He's an exceptional employee.
But one of the things I wanted to offer is maybe some of these smaller donations that are coming in. Maybe we can give those to the police officers that may be going to these other locations. If we don't have a full truckload, we're able to deploy that with them as well. So just an option for us to take. I did notice that there was an email sent out by the Florida League of Cities requesting additional support from city managers, city finance staff, things of that nature. That
I haven't seen that.
that came out yesterday, I believe. It should be in our email. I'll forward it if you didn't see it.
Would you please, Councilman?
Absolutely,
I
and,
did not see that.
And all those will be reimbursable costs. If we were to send somebody up to assist these other facilities, they would reimburse those costs for us as well.
Yes, and that's just something to keep in mind. In these disaster relief situations, FEMA eventually reimburses us. Eventually.
So I'll find that email and I'll forward it to you.
Please, thank you.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Anything further from Councilman Roth?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, it's, watching from afar is always challenging for us, and you don't get all the information. I have close ties to that area, and I've been watching their local news daily, social media outlets, and the positive thing about what's going on over there is how quickly the response has been to the needs of people. And when you're dealing with islands that have been separated from the mainland, it makes it much more challenging. Although the populations are less dense on the islands, it doesn't make the effort, less important because those people are stuck out there. And, to see the governor come down and spend as much time in the coordination between all the different agencies, I don't hear a lot of people getting upset with what's going on. You'll have your naysayers. There are naysayers out there that will complain about anything, but for the most part, especially on the islands and in Cape Coral and Fort Myers, it feels similar to what we experienced here 30 years ago with Andrew and how the communities all came together and tried to help each other out. Two different storms, right? Two different types of destruction. But the community spirit that we had back then 30 years ago is so evident today with the islanders, the people on the Sanibel Island and Pine Island, in Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Punta Gorda, where our guys are at right now, Charlotte County, and even the counties that we're looking at to help, DeSoto County and Hardy County, although they're much less populated than other areas. But the response and everyone who is responding to the needs over there is quite heroic. And it's almost like they were so far ahead of planning that the stuff that we're doing at this level, by the time it gets there, as Jerry was saying, they were dropping semi-trucks off here in Andrew, and we didn't know what to do with the products. So that's something else to monitor as we have the end user that's going to receive whatever it is we put together. So that's another issue, that you get too much stuff over there and they can't use it, and it just sits and it doesn't go to where it needs to go. So, as far as our IBEW guys, they have responded to almost every national disaster that's happened in our side of the country, right? We gave them a rounding escort as they came back from the Panhandle back when, I think it was, which one hit that area? Michael, right? Knocked out all that area. And it's a sad moment that we don't have the capabilities to send linemen up there, because I know that they would want to be up there helping their brothers in the industry. But we rely on them as well to take care of the citizens in our city. And you guys do a fantastic job. We get the outage reports when they happen, and we see the time that it takes to get those outages corrected. And it's because of you guys, keeping the power on to all the people that count on you every day. And for that, I'm thankful, and I know we're all up here very proud of what you guys do every day. So thank you for that, and thank you for being here in the city. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Avila.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank everyone for their efforts in bringing relief to the families affected. I want to thank the mayor for taking on the lead to organize it through the city so that we can make sure that everyone knows that we do remember and that we are ready to reciprocate and give back the way that we received. I'm going to check with my contacts. Kiwanis is an international organization. There are clubs all throughout the state of Florida. I'm asking if there's anyone at Ground Zero that could be that point person on the other end. If I get any positive responses, I'll be sure to try to set up a meeting, a virtual meeting with you guys right away. But I know that the Kiwanis Foundation, Florida Foundation, is also assisting monetarily, and we have to keep in mind that sometimes too much of a good thing is not a good thing. We want to make sure that our efforts are efficient and logistically, handled properly. So thank you for keeping us, in control of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mayor. No, thank you very much for coordinating this. Please count me in for my piece of it. I'm happy to donate the 1,000. And Vice Mayor, if you have a lot of donations to go through, I volunteer to come over and help sort things because some of my Facebook memories today were of the hurricane in the Bahamas, and my school was one of the drop-off points. And there's nothing worse than dealing with an emergency and having to sort through and see what size this is and what type of piece of whatever this is. So if I can help organize some things, maybe get some boxes well labeled, I'd be happy to do that. Maybe it could go to ONA, for example, with a smaller population. Maybe that would be a better fit for that. And then my second question is, if whatever amount of money we end up with and the items that you decide to send, would we then donate to these 3 counties, whatever's left over?
Well, I kind of envision that probably to fill that truck, we're going to spend the entire amount in one shot. Probably so. I mean, diapers and formula, for example, aren't cheap anymore, right?
Yeah, right now at the dollar amount that we're talking about, it's probably going to fill up the whole tractor trailer. So, and once again, if there are funds left over, of course, we'll make sure to get it to the appropriate agency.
Certainly.
And we're
put it in
gonna
those-
we're gonna track every single dollar so we know where it came in and where it went out. So we're gonna make sure of that.
Yeah, for better or worse, from our own experience, we know that, chaotic delivery is not efficient or effective delivery. And, we well learned that lesson. I think Councilwoman Avila hit the nail on the head. I mean, look, a lot of the good that happened in this community in the immediate aftermath was not necessarily from government agencies. It was from organizations and individual volunteers who loaded up their own heavy equipment and came here at their own expense and started clearing roads and helping people clear yards and do, any number of things. And, we're always going to pay that forward. I don't care if it's 30 or 60 years post Andrew. As long as anyone is here who was alive and on the ground here during Andrew, I want to continue that. Absolutely. And I think that does this. And I want to thank you all for your contributions. And I think that fund can continue to grow. And maybe, down the road, as the needs change, we'll have the proceeds to do a second truckload. But, as I said in my email that was circulated, look, we all know the hardest hit, the coastal areas are getting the attention, but there are many underserved inland communities who are effectively in the kind of desperation we were in, not necessarily in terms of destruction, but in terms of living conditions. And I hope that that's where we can ultimately make the difference for those folks. Councilman Fletcher.
And lastly, I just wanted to add my thank you to all of you linemen as well. I think you also do an amazing job. Thanks. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask if you guys think it's smart to send clothes as well. No clothes at the moment, so we should, in our efforts, we should say, here are a list of examples of items. However, please refrain from bringing clothing.
Yeah.
That way it makes it easier.
Used goods are not clothes.
Makes it easy for us to sort those boxes.
Yeah, Vice Mayor, from just my personal experience during Andrew, the clothes thing ended up becoming once again, you've lost everything, so you need clothes, right? But if it's just a pile of clothes, and I think Councilwoman Bailey kind of spoke to it, when you walk, and there's a box, we've all been there at the store where there's a box full of clothes and you're trying to find your size shirt. Imagine hundreds of people doing the same thing at the same time. So it's easier if, hey, these are all small, these are all mediums, these are all large. That would definitely help, but that's going to be a chore in itself.
Councilman Fletcher.
Yeah, one last thing. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, but let's not forget that it was also noted that less than 20% of the people, that were affected by the storm surge or the flooding waters have flood insurance. Yeah. So those things are going to change over the next couple of years, and let's look at Orlando was impacted. You know, I had a family member in Edgewater, you know, south of Daytona that was affected with floodwaters. So let's possibly look at those areas as well. So, you know, we're not just focusing there because it's destruction across the street.
Absolutely.
across the
Just
state.
the scale, the scope of it is just unprecedented. Hate to overuse the word, but it is. There's no other way to describe it. We have a motion to approve? Moved by Councilwoman Bailey, seconded by Vice Mayor Guzman. Roll call, Madam Clerk. Did I hear the wrong voice again?
Council-
Okay. Roll call.
Councilwoman Fairclough Staggers,
We'll call it a joint motion.
Councilman Fletcher. Yes. Councilman Roth. Yes. Councilwoman Bailey. Yes. Councilwoman Avila. Vice Mayor Guzman.
Yes.
Mayor Losner.
Yes,
The motion carries.
thank you. Mr. Manager, anything further?
No, Mayor.
Mr. Attorney, anything further? Counsel, anything further? Motion to adjourn? All in favor? Aye. Thank you all.